Howdy. Welcome to Single Black Man from Des Moines. My name is Al Simon Jr. A little about me. I was a dog handler in the service. I worked in retail, healthcare, and libraries. I've taught Hapkido for over 20 years. And now I'm a fledgling writer. Excuse me. From time to time, I'll read some of my pieces, fiction and nonfiction, and also I might tell some jokes, time permitting. I like to leave these around 10 minutes. What else I got here? I'll post stuff every week, especially on Sunday. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to purchase my works, I have some things available on Smashwords, or you can email me at al_simon@hotmail.com, and I can send you a complete list of all my pieces and prices. Let me tell you a story. This is called I Ain't Talking to No Strange Man. It'll become more apparent as I go through what this story is about. I worked at a Planned Parenthood call center for several years. Full disclosure, I've been used in some of their print media, internet, and video. In fact, I had my own column in the company newsletter. I volunteered my time, money, and support. So obviously I support a woman's right to choose. One more disclaimer. At the call center, we'd get what was called Rosie Awards for good service. Invariably, these came from clients who wanted to speak to our supervisor to comment on the care we gave. After I left Planned Parenthood, one thing I liked to do to cap off a job interview was to dump all my Rosies upon the desk. There was an abundance of them that there were more than enough to pass around. It was an aberrant day when I didn't schedule an abortion. We were often monitored during our calls, and it was an obtrusive chirp in your ear when it happened. I had an AB call, that's an abortion call, first thing one morning. I ended the call with a heartfelt, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" To which the young lady, who was on the verge of tears when she initially called, said, "No, you've been great." The people in the room who had overheard the conversation asked, "Were you being monitored?" And I said, "No, I wasn't." Now to my regularly scheduled program. There's a lot of women today who, if they haven't, should get down on their knees and be grateful that there is a Planned Parenthood. And those women who have utilized Planned Parenthood and have not voted in their interest, who have not vetted their political leaders for their position on Planned Parenthood, you ought to be ashamed. And if you haven't, you deserve what you get or don't get. Aside from that, I had some hilarious phone calls during my time there. Granted, some weren't particularly nice and some were downright rude. However, you remember the ones that tick you off more than the numerous ones that were nice and grateful. We often got calls where chicks needed to get on birth control. Services were income-based. One of my spiels required me to ask a potential patient if they were 17 or older, a U.S. citizen, and an Iowa resident. If so, their birth control could be free. To which one gal asked, "And how much is that?" Another call. Patient, "I need an emergency appointment." Me, "What's your emergency, ma'am?" Patient, "I need to get on birth control." Me, "Ma'am, that's not an emergency appointment." Patient, "It is to me. I've got 7 kids. Another call. A gal calls in one day and says, "My NuvaRing is making my breasts bigger." Me, "Do you want to make an appointment?" Patient, "No, I'm calling because my boyfriend loves it." It didn't happen often, but sometimes I'd get a call from men. My roommate's girlfriend said he needs to be checked for chlamydia. I guess I need to be checked as well. Though I wasn't a healthcare professional, occasionally I'd offer a suggestion. I was giving instructions for a patient who was about to have a procedure and told her refrain from sex for 2 days. To which she replied, "My boyfriend's not going to like that." And then I said, "Tell him to read a book or watch TV." If the conversation was going well, I'd add, "Ignore the song, Save a Horse." The girl quipped, "That was my problem. I was riding a cowboy." There was a whiteboard in one of the larger call center rooms that was seldom used. If one of us got an unusual or funny call, we'd post it up there. Chet Culver was the Democratic governor at the time and was running for re-election. Our local branch was going to endorse him, and he made a walkthrough. As he made his way, shaking hands, and as he came up to me, flashbulbs from the photographers with him went off. I guess mainly because I was an African American male. As I was wont to do, I made light of the situation. "Hey, Gov, nice tan." He quickly assessed me as he relinquished my hand and quickly departed. I guess he felt I was a little too gregarious for his liking to engage me in further conversation. That didn't bother me. It wasn't until after he left that a quote I had written on the whiteboard was still proudly displayed. "I need to be seen. My boyfriend says I taste a little tart." I am blessed with a deep voice, and it gets noticed and commented on at every job I've held. Some gals say it reminds them of Barry White. The most common at the time was that I sounded like the Allstate man Dennis Haysbert. Anyway, I got a call and transferred it to our Ames clinic and got one of the CNAs I like, a gal named Kelly. After a bit, Kelly called me back and said the patient loved my voice and asked if I was single. Never for one moment was I thinking of following up on this, but I was playing along and said, "Well, did you get her phone number?" To which Kelly replied, "Settle down, Al. I'd wait for her test results to come back if I were you." I noted that I sometime would do volunteer work. We had a booth at the downtown's farmers market, and I decided to work it one Saturday. We had brochures, posters, and some giveaways to entice people in. There were always educators on hand, and we'd always try to get signatures for the Healthy Family Program. A couple of middle-aged ladies ambled by. They snatched up whatever free stuff we were offering. They grabbed some pencils and bookmarks until one gal spies something, and while picking it up, asked me what it is. "That's a dental dam, ma'am. It's used for oral sex." "Oh," she dropped it as if I was scalding her. "We won't be needing that." To which I replied, "I was thinking of lunch first." I've had some comments on me being misogynistic. Let's remember I worked in a call center. I'm willing to bet anyone who has worked in one doesn't think it's all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Among my best friends was a gal named Spomy. Spomy's American-born but raised from Bosnian immigrants, a staunch feminist. After a few weeks, I noticed she had a small cloth doll with pins in it. When I asked her about it, she said, "Some of these gals think they're so entitled." Which again brings me to what I said in my first paragraph. If you won't vote in your best interest, if you don't vet the candidates running for office, you get the candidate you deserve. One more perspective. I doubt there's many who have worked in retail, customer service, or a call center that says they love what they do. Invariably, they make light or make a joke about it. "That's all I'm doing. Don't read into this missive any more than that." Okay, that's it for that story. Speaking of story, let me close you with a joke here. Did you hear the one about the midget that got kicked out of a nudist colony? He kept telling people, "Gee, your hair smells terrific." Okay, with that in mind, again, I've got stuff on Smashwords. You can contact me at al_simon.com. Please like, share, and subscribe, and get Al out of the ghetto. And let me close with this. There's 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. See you next week.